So again, we'll just kind of wait a couple more minutes before we get started.
Can I ask a question in the meantime? Okay,
Sure.
sure. So when is the best time to prospect for listing for sale by owner?
When is the best time to
When is the
send
best
like the
time to
listing?
no. When is the best time to prospect for sale by owner?
I think all year. You got to find it, and I was always told with for sale by owner there's like different stages, because like when you contact them too early they become angry, like, I'm
Yes.
selling this by myself, I don't need any more realtors. So it really is the long game for sale
Yes.
by owner. You got to have patience, you got to have thick skin,
Yes.
and
Right.
just kind of wait it out, because in the end they will uh, uh,
Come
lose
around.
energy. They'll get discouraged. And actually, this presentation is going to be perfect for that, because there's actually a slide that I would have, and actually had an agent. I showed her how to do the presentation, and she's like, "Oh my God, this is great, because I'm going to go see a for sale by owner." There were some stats on there, not like a lot, but she kind of focused on that slide. So it's pre-made marketing stuff that you guys can use, and I'm really excited to share that. So, okay.
Right.
So
Thank you.
anyways, it's 3 minutes over, so I'm going to get started. Today we're going to talk about, Rob was saying the other day, it's not a listing presentation, because the normal consumer or people out there, they don't know what a listing presentation is. And I have to do this too, because I'll say like, oh, I'm going to do my listing presentation over there, but it really is a marketing presentation, or value presentation, and we call it like maybe a customized marketing presentation. And that's what you're going to say to your potential client when you are trying to get that appointment, just so that they know that this is what you're bringing to the table. So the awesome thing about Bold Trail is that it's so comprehensive. And I don't know if you guys were on my previous one, which was like several weeks back, and you have to have the profiles done and the MLS Connect. And those of us who are connected to NJMLS, there's like a form that you have to fill in. So it's not like you don't all of a sudden have a listing and then you got to go boom, 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 and it's going to take 15 minutes. It really is, you have to be ready. And that's why I really wanted to cover the profile. It really is step one to using all of the systems in Bold Trail. So hope you guys did that. If you didn't, it's on the NJ Hub that we always send out, and there's masterminds. Look for that profile check. And you got to get that done before all of the MLS and feeds and links into this presentation. Okay, so I'm going to share today. No slides. I'm just going to go straight into it. All right. So we all know that there's a new system where you kind of have to always get a code, or so just be aware of that. It's for your protection. So I'm at Bold Trail, and I went into right here marketing on the left side, and then I chose present. Okay, for presentation. And here there are multiple presentations. There's only one for sellers. I think a couple of weeks later we're going to do the buyers, and the buyers have like a couple of cool stuff in there. But I'm going to choose sellers. But I did one yesterday. So I will show you how, I'll show you what it kind of looks like, and I'll show you what it looks like on the client side as well. So let me get started. So you start. And there are a couple of things that I've learned from the system. There's little tips. So you have to write the address right on the first line here. So I'm going to, this is Lincoln Avenue, and it doesn't even it doesn't come out. Like now it's still, we got one New Jersey, so I'm going to go here, comma, Cliff Side Park, and then it comes out. So sometimes you have to stick with the avenue, comma, and then the town, then it kind of shows up. So you click on that, and then you do next. So then it does pull up some information. It's a condo, actually, it's a townhome, but you do have to put a bedroom count. So hopefully, before you're doing this, you are checking the tax records. You're making sure all the information that you've reviewed, and then it's going to be 3 and 3. I looked it up, and then I'm going to go click next, comparable details. Now, there's also a tip here. Right now, a lot of, I don't know about the other MLSs. I know NJMLS, the square footage is not required. A lot of agents don't like to put it. There's some liabilities issues. Let's say you put it in incorrectly and you don't want to be liable for that. So it's not a required field. So you see that not much came up, but you want to click on the square footage and you click here, include listings that don't list the square footage. And now you can see a bunch that that you see it as the comps. There's 18 actives, there's 7 pending, and there's 1 sold. There is more sold. There are glitches in here that we're starting to find out, and it might be because of our NJMLS did move to the new matrix. Sometimes that does happen. You guys using some other MLSs may not have an issue, but if it didn't come out, you can actually write here in the MLS, and then if you do that and you put in the MLS ID and then you click on the arrow, it does show up. I tried multiple times and it didn't show up, so I'm happy with that 1 sold. But eventually we're going to get this glitch fixed. I think when they update it to the new system, that's what's happened. All right, so this is the point right here where you have to click on the listing that doesn't include their square footage so that you could get most of the comps that come out. So we're going to go next into build CMA. So it's going to think, and when we get to the next page in the CMA section, you'll see that it has really cool features here. You can actually, looking at the solds, and hopefully you've done some research as far as, because not all townhomes with 3 bedrooms and 3 bath do belong there. You got to do some research as far as finding comps. But let's say if I feel like maybe this is my oh, this is the exact price. I always like to give it a range. So if I add that, look at that. I come out here with my little picture. It's awesome. It's a really great tool. And I want to kind of go over some of the stuff. So you go into comparables and you'll see that there's a bunch that may not apply. So if I click on this one, oh, this is not a town, I might delete it. And actually 13 actives is a lot. I'd like to stick with maybe like 3, 4, depending. Sometimes there isn't any, so I just kind of click on the ones, I review it. It does feed off the MLS. Again, you have to have that profile check done and make sure it's feeding into it. And you can look at it because it feeds from the MLS and it's, maybe I don't want to include that one. I see this one is very close to, where I'm going to list it or do the presentation on. So I may leave some of that stuff. Okay. So, I'm okay with that. And you'll see that it went from, I think 13 to, maybe it had more, but it's 13 now and 7 pending. Again, depending on, what you might want to do, I would say 13 is kind of a lot, but for time's sake, I'm just going to leave it there. But it tells you what's the average comp that's sold, what's the average of the active comp, and so they can kind of view this. It's a nice little chart, and you're not creating anything but putting in the information. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and create the presentation here. And you'll see how it'll come up to these slides that you're going to do. And every agent kind of does it differently. For me, I don't like to give the secret sauce away. Some people do say, oh, I send my presentation first. They know exactly what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to go in there, look at the place, and connect with the people, and they just kind of review what they send. I always like to get in there first. I find that if I send them my CMA and my marketing stuff, they may cancel, maybe not on purpose, but they may cancel, and they might be like, oh, I don't need to meet with her because I got everything. So it really depends on how you work. Everybody does it a little bit different. So here's the slides, and this is actually the presentation. And you'll see that there's a cover. You can do different types of cover. I find that's really not much different. Um, you can see like this is more, it says like different type of shapes. There's modern. Okay, so you can click on whichever you want. So here is what I'm going to talk about here is the value of an agent. And it talks about right here, Karma, we were talking about, oh, when do we send, how do we start prospecting for FISBO? FISBOs come out, I think, at all times of the year. And if you see one, just go for it, and I wouldn't wait. There's like really no best time. Again, it's a long game. You might catch them at a place. It's the same thing as leads. You might catch them on the third, you're the 13th person, and maybe they're ready to give up and they're ready to listen. Or you might be the first person and they're going to be like, I don't need you, I could do this myself. So there's a different, there's stages to them, like for leads and for FISBOs, right? So right here is where the typical FISBO home sold an average of 40% less than an agent. So think about like you having a sign on your yard or a couple of like little, it's very minimal coverage that you're going to get. But if you're, listing it with an agent, and we have thousands of agents looking at it and having, thousands of buyers that are potentially interested in. So that's kind of, where the information is. Average FISBO homes takes 19 days longer than sell a home. I'm just going to go here, here. It's throwing me off because this is what I'm used to. Okay, so I guess different style has different layouts. So I'm gonna go right at the bottom on the left side. It says add a slide. So I'm gonna go click on the slide. And there's a bunch of slides. So if it's grayed out like this, value of an agent. So instead of you saying, hey, this is what I do, and it's kind of like you're gonna say that in the presentation, but you're also going to back that up in this presentation. Like personally, you're gonna connect with that person, but here's some flyers, there's some slides, here's some stats that you can give them. Also, the ones that I like is also the home selling process. So you click on it. If it's grayed out, that means it's going to go into the presentation. And also, I might give them something like this. It's like, about Remax, right? And once you've done that, let me just hold on, move this. You see add selected, and you can browse. That's why I say that it's not going to be in 10 minutes that you're going to have this unless you did this a multiple times. There's a bunch of slides that you could ask. I like these for now, and I'm going to select the slides, and you see that and here's the home selling process. Okay, although we do so much more in between, but this is a good snapshot of what they can see. And if they're like first time sellers, they can kind of review that, right? And again, you're the one, it's going to set you apart when you're doing a presentation and they're interviewing maybe 2, 3 agents. You're coming back with something like this. And I'll tell you what I do. Sometimes I just print it out. Also, I send it out in an email, and after my presentation, I'll send it out the next day, and then I'll give them a follow-up call and say, hey, I sent you the presentation, what we talked about. Do you have any questions? So it's another reason to touch base with them. So going back to the left side, you'll see what's my home worth, and you'll see here some of the comps. Here's what they could look at. Here's the nice little graph that they have. I might add right here is add a slide. And where do buyers get their information? I might add that. So if it's grayed out, and talking about pricing guidelines, okay, and I'm going to add those slides. again, if you feel like this person is not going to enjoy such a long, I may not even print all of this up. I might even just go there and just connect with that person and review and just email this to them, right? Where did they get their information? And here's the price guideline. Okay, and why it's important, what with agent education experience, and here's the market analysis and overview. It's a pretty fresh, market right now. Here's the average. Here's the selling prices, like, that information over here, the square footage. Although I wouldn't really depend on that if your MLS does not require the footage. And again, talks about the pricing. If they think that it's priced 15% lower than the market value, you're going to get 90% more potential buyers. So having something to talk about and having the visual for it is very important, instead of you kind of talking about it and them not being able to visualize. I'm a very visual person, and I think a lot of people are too. And it's something for them to look at so that they are able to, price it correctly, right? Because we're at this time also where, the market is changing. And this might be a very important slide to talk about. Okay. And here's the buyer activity. And, this is where, the demands are. It's a little bit, I don't know if I would use that if you don't know how to explain that. And you can take it away. You can just X that out. And so this is kind of interesting. I was looking at this, and did you know, like, as I put in the address for this property, I know that there's 31 buyers even in our system in Bold Trail that are interested in this area, in this market. Okay, you see the buyer ID. It blocks off the information, but they're looking for homes in this price range. Okay, so even though these are not like the exact buyers, it's like you can tell them, like, even in my system, I already have 31 buyers that's interested, right? So even though it's not a specific, like, it's a nice slide to have, and they're going to be like, what, you already have 31 buyers? Potentially that can be, buying your property. It's information from our system. Okay, so it's not made up, we're not lying. It's just what they may or may not be, they may or may not be the perfect fit, but they're potential buyers in that range. And this is kind of the marketing that we're going to talk about. We're going to, and Fran did like an amazing job last week. I don't know if you missed it. If you missed it, go back to the mastermind. And she talked about some marketing that you can do. And that's what you're going to say. This is the type of marketing I'm going to do. And this is what I do on social. And she kind of talked about the property boost. So I'm going to go into add a slide, and I might just do the property boost like slide. And I would pay the $69 and put it on social media, and you just let them know, like, this is my type of marketing, that I put things out there. And because most of the buyers are coming from the internet and social media, we're on our phones and social media, and so are the buyers. So those are the things that I would explain. And then here's the next step, is just a thank you. Okay. And after that, I'm just going to switch it over. You're going to present and share. Let's say, I like my slides. I know what to say. I'm ready to present and share it. So you just click on the present and share. And again, this information, remember in the profile mastermind, that it comes off of your main profile. So it's important to go ahead and, fill that up, because it does come up. So here you can go back and then say, you can do the preview, and you can kind of see what it looks like. Okay. And you just use that little arrow. Hi, this is me. This is why it's important. And you may not speak on, you don't have to speak on every single page. It's a lot, right? But that's why we have that presentation. So you could do a couple of things. So we're going to add a client from there. And that's why I say it's important to, have all your people inside your system. And if you didn't create it, that's fine, because you can click here and create it. But I have myself on there with my maiden name. Okay. And then I add. Okay. And there was some glitches, I think, because of the outage yesterday. I wasn't able to add that person. person, but so I don't know if, yeah, oh, here. So it added, and you can edit it. You could, and then I sometimes add a video link. And how do you do that? It actually is a video that you have to upload to uh, YouTube. So I used, and everybody has a YouTube channel. You do. Okay. So I go into my videos, and if you have a Gmail and then you have a, YouTube account, you go into your channel, you do have videos. And because I've done training before, I did the hustle and the Remax hustle, and I put it up. It's unlisted. So it's not for public view, but whoever has that link, it's up here. And so what I do is I did it a while back. So it's something, again, it's shareable link. I put it on there, and I just go into the video link. I just paste like that and then add. Okay. And what you could also do is do, just a video of you talking on the, recording yourself on the phone, and just say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I am so glad to have met you, and I viewed your beautiful home. I'm looking forward to working with you. And that just personal touch is, I think, speaks volumes. So then I upload that to my channel, and it's not public, it's unlisted, or you could even do for private. And you can do that. So you can email that, okay, or you can download it and print it. Or if you know that, you kind of want to link to it, you could just copy the link, and then you send it to yourself in an email, and you can open that. Okay, so there's a lot of things that you can do. So I just wanted to show you what it looks like when your clients see it. So this is me as a client, and it says, hey, digital press. It has my signature. We talked about that for my profile. Hopefully you kind of worked on it. It has my picture on it, and it'll say view presentation, and you'll see my hustle video. It feels like a little commercial before, you get to the, presentation, and it'll say proceed right here to the presentation. And I thought it's nice. And then it goes to the presentation. Okay. And you, as the agent, you get an email saying, hey, Mary Pack has engaged in your presentation. Okay. For 471 Lincoln Avenue. Okay. Again, tying you guys all together into our system. And I wanted to show you, right here. This is Mary Park, my lead. Okay. And it says here, I know it's small for you guys, it'll say has viewed presentation. And again, I know what she's doing. I know that she's being active. Or it says she opened an email, and it times it, right? And so you might consider that person very interested. And I want to say also, when you go back, you can also see analytics when they opened it. And it didn't show up here, but I did open it, as you can saw that, they engaged in it. So that's kind of what I wanted to cover. There's a lot of slides that you could review and take a look at, that you can add on there. And I just, after my presentation, the next day I send it to them, and I just say, hey, look, I send them a text, or I sent you the information of my slides. Do you have any questions? Let me know. And actually it'll be kind of documented into your system. It'll say that they engaged in it or look at it. Actually, it even gives you a breakdown of what page that they looked at the most. So it's a little stalkerish, but I think that's what's great about our system. But if you're not using it, what's the purpose? The point is for you to, play around with it and use it. And you can always reach out to me and to your managers to help you with it. But give yourself some time. Make sure your profile is set up, and the IDX, the information data exchange, okay, information comes off into, the MLS. Do you guys have any questions? Awesome.
Thank you, Mary, for sharing
Yeah,
your
so
idea with us. We appreciate it.
yeah, I get pretty excited about our tools. So definitely, reach out if you guys have any questions. You should do one for your home or your next listing. Just practice it so that you can figure out, oh, this is not working or that's not working. But again, NJMLS does have a little, glitch in it, so you might have to, play around with it a little bit.
Yeah,
All
I love the
righty.
idea when you share about the home selling process, because sometimes the homeowners, oh, it's so, for sale by owner, you got a buyer and my attorney will handle everything, but they don't
I'm telling
know
you, this
how many
presentation,
steps.
I agree with you, and that's not even all
Right.
the steps, right? We did have an agent, and she's like, I'm going to FISBO. Can you help me with the presentation? And she did it and she got the listing. And
Okay,
so
thank you.
I'm definitely, I would even you may not even put the comps in there and just go straight to the presentation and just drop that off and talk to them a little bit and say these things are important. Great. All right. So if there's no other questions, um, thanks for joining us in our mastermind. I'll be doing another buyer's one, very similar. Very similar. So if you know how to do the sellers, it'll be good. Okay. All right, you guys. Have a
Thank you,
great day.
Mary.
All
Thanks,
Thank
Mary.
righty.
Thank
you.
you.
All righty. Bye bye.